How well do you think you know Pokemon Gen 2?
For sure, remember maybe 10 of them.
Just 10?
Just 10 out of the 151
All
of
right,
that generation.
go ahead and name those 10 right now.
Okay, I lied. Maybe 4.
All right, well, I want to hear the ones you know.
Cyndaquil.
Okay.
I'm probably going to butcher the name. Turtodile?
That is Totodile, yes.
Okay. Farfetch? No, Farfetch was first gen.
Farfetch was Gen 1. I'm sorry, caller.
Miltank?
Miltank was a Gen 2.
I
Well,
think
I've
it
got
was.
sad news for you. This quiz later on, none of those Pokemon are on it, so you are
Oh, of
totally
course.
screwed.
Of course, it's going to be Pokemon no one knows. Or no
I
one's
think,
remembered.
well, when I went back and looked through it, I was super surprised that I didn't know as many as I thought that I did. I did have to look up a bunch of names. It's kind of crazy how forgetful a lot of Gen 2 is.
I remembered another one.
Which one?
The Unknown.
Well, technically, if you remember unknown, you technically, how many letters in the alphabet are there? 26. So you technically remember 26.
But no, but they're just one. They're bunched into one Pokemon. And then you have Lugia, Oho.
I remember trying to capture all of the unknown. It was the dumbest idea I've ever had.
Well, wasn't it like you could only capture like half in one game and half in the other?
I think
And
so.
Crystal, I think it had all of them.
I think Nintendo was on that bullshit with it, where it's like, oh yeah, you can only catch these Pokemon. You can only catch letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G in gold. Everything else in silver. Oh, and there's one that you couldn't catch until Crystal came out.
I don't even remember that Pokemon's name either.
The
legendary
Pokemon
one
on the cover of Crystal. Yeah. I think it's like Suiking, Suiking.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. I mean, what? It's been well over 15 years since I at least picked up Pokemon Silver, Gold, and Crystal.
I remember liking them a lot. I remember my copy of Crystal got stolen by someone in the neighborhood when we lived in St. Louis, like North St. Louis. But I remember playing the crap out of Silver, and like the opening or the start screen of those games were very memorable because it was Lugia like swimming at the bottom of the ocean and a Ho-Oh just flying across. And I think isn't Ho-Oh in the very first Pokemon episode?
Yeah, that's the Pokemon that she's flying across the sky on the rainbow.
And everyone, like, he's like, everyone, I saw this Pokemon. And they're like, no, you didn't. Shut the hell up.
He's not real.
Hey, everybody. We're Nick and Josh. This is Smashing Game Time. Josh, say hi to the people.
Why, hello, everyone.
This is episode 2. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the release calendar of 2001, which I thought 2000 was a banger. 2001 is an even bigger banger. Like, 20 years ago, this shit was popping, Josh.
Oh, it definitely was. Like you look at all these past 2 years just alone, and you're like, these 2 years set the game industry to the standard that it needs to be at and currently is not at.
I think 2000 and 2001 were really good staples, and then not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I think you could honestly skip a few years and then jump right into like 2006, 2007
easily.
Because I think this was like the end. This was the end of the N64 PS1 generation, and you jump right into like PS2, GameCube, Xbox. I think GameCube and Xbox both came out this year. So did Gameboy Advance, which I think had a crazy first year. But we'll get into that, folks. Wherever you're listening, we appreciate you listening. We're on the YouTube, we're on Anchor, Spotify, just about everywhere you could think. This is the spot where we usually read a review from Apple Podcasts. Josh, why can't we do that today?
Because we have no review. Well, we have 3 reviews, but no written reviews currently.
We have 3 5-star reviews and no written reviews yet. If you would be so kind and can type out on your phone or on your computer, give us a lovely review or give us a hateful one. We will read it live, no matter how hurtful it is to Josh and his terrible glasses.
Don't you insult my glasses. These are designed by
those?
people.
What are those?
Weber Parkley?
Mine are called Stature Eyewear.
I'm sorry, Warby Parker. I just can't read, and mine is called the Brady.
The Brady. Oh shit. I got these at the dollar. No, I got these at Clarkson Eye Care or somewhere. Other announcement. So we were originally planning for this to be a bi-weekly thing, but we came up with a fun way to make this a weekly podcast. So the normal list episodes that you know and love, because we've only done one so far, those are going to be every 2 weeks. And then the gap between those two, we're going to do something that we're calling a speed cap. Josh, you want to explain what a speed cap is? You want me to do it?
No, actually, I'll take this.
All right, Josh has this.
Essentially, what we're going to do is once a speed cap, we're going to challenge each other. So for this coming up one, we're going to do Ocarina of Time.
Majora's Mask.
Oh, I thought it was Ocarina of Time.
It's Majora's Mask.
Folks, we're going to have to fix that after the break.
It's Majora's Mask. Son of a
I thought it was
bitch.
Ocarina of
Son
Time.
of a bitch. It lines up with 2000, Josh. Ocarina came out in 98. Oh my God.
Okay.
I need a new podcast partner.
Well, anyway, so what we'll do is I will have Nick within 30 minutes
20
describe.
minutes.
He's going to correct me. You know what, Nick? Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, you know what? I'll explain it. Because Josh obviously didn't read the message. Josh didn't get the memo. So we're doing a speed cap. It's called a speed cap. Think like a speed run meets a recap. Every speed cap, one of us is going to have to basically run through the story of the game in 20 minutes or less, and the other person's going to have a score sheet. So like, for example, the first one is going to be Majora's Mask. I'm going to be doing the speed cap. Josh is going to be keeping tally, and Josh's score that I can get adds up to 50. So like, for example, okay, you named 1 2 3 4 5 7 of the bosses. That's 7 points. Oh, you named 7 of the different masks and how to get them. That's 7 points. So you have 20 minutes to recap the story and hit all these points that we will like bring up and have on screen for you guys. We'll have them in the show notes for those listening along. And basically it's just to watch an idiot speed through the story of a game, explain everything very fast, and see if they can get a good score. I like to think of it. So I think once we get like going, we can do it like, you know how old games have like, oh, you completed this part of the level, you got an S score, or you got an A score, or B score, kind of like Beautiful Joe. Or
I was thinking more like Devil May Cry,
or Devil May Cry, even something like that. So then, basically, I'm doing it this week. At the end of the show, we'll pick one from 2001 for Josh to do the following week, the 2 weeks after, and then whoever has the highest score wins. The person with the lowest score is going to be eating these pickled baby beets while they play Beat Saber live on a Twitch stream. And I think it's going to be Josh.
Well, seeing as I got the wrong game and I have the wrong list, yeah, more than likely it's going to be me. So get ready to watch me not only bumble like an idiot, but play Beat Saber while eating beets.
Oh, and if you recall, if you watched the stream a few weeks back, Josh drank beet juice mixed with, was it beef broth?
Chicken broth.
Chicken broth. We're just going to add the physical element to try and get you to throw up faster.
There will be vomit.
But that being said, you do get to pick at the end of the show, I'll let you pick the game for the 2001 speed cap. So you get that advantage.
Okay.
Since I picked Majora's Mask for myself, you get to pick the 2001 game.
Okay. I will have to keep. That sounds fair enough. I would have to see what is available. I mean, I know it's available, but I'll have to see which one would be the easiest and give me the highest score possible.
Oh, I'm gonna like pick the hard. Like I'll pick the hard. Whatever you pick, I'm gonna do so much research you don't even know. So much research, Josh. Speaking of games, we've got a long list. We're not going to go 2 hours long like we did last time, but we still got a long list. What do you say we jump into it?
Let's do it.
All right, folks. Wikipedia was our trusty steed for this one. If you haven't donated yet, do it before they beat you up and take your money. I think they just want $250. They might have stopped doing it, actually. Is it $275?
$275.
There's an article that came out, I think it was The Atlantic, that was talking about how Wikipedia doesn't need your money. They've got more money than they're willing to admit. Josh,
they need it.
They don't need it. They don't need it. So
anyway,
the first game we've got here is a bit of a doozy.
Oh, really? I still enjoy playing it every once in a while.
I've never played it. You've played it a few times, right?
I played it as a kid. I play it Well, I haven't played it in the past couple months, but I still play it as an adult.
So the game we're talking about here is, of course, RuneScape, which I didn't know RuneScape came out in 2001. Because every time I hear about classic RuneScape, I hear, "Oh, are you guys playing RuneScape 2007?" What is the
Also known as
appeal?
old school.
What is the appeal?
It's a free RPG. I mean, if you compare it to like at the time, like the only big game that was like dominating the RPG world besides Final Fantasy 11 was World of Warcraft. So if you didn't have the money to pay for that or the computer to play it, just get your trusty web browser at your school computer, put on RuneScape, go slay some goblins, go mine some ore, get the gold, make 1,000,000.
Could you really play RuneScape at school?
Yeah, we used to do it all the time.
They didn't block it.
No, adults are dumb sometimes. We all know
They,
that.
did they eventually block it?
Eventually, but then there was workarounds.
What was one of those websites? I remember using one of those to like get on YouTube a lot.
Was it like Greenwire or something?
Greenwire might have been like, was it Spider something? It was Spider something. We'll have to look up. What were those, Josh? Were those basically VPN sites or something, or?
They're more like, they were like essentially like web browser VPNs, basically. Like not essentially enough that it wouldn't hide your IP, but it would hide the IP of the address you're going to.
So basically,
like
it
a
made it
workaround.
look like you weren't on your school's network.
It made it look like you were looking up something fine. So like it would like replace it with like Google or something that everybody would let you get into.
Oh, you wanted to play RuneScape, and it makes it look like it's like Pornhub or something. Safe,
No.
we're safe.
You could get on there though.
On Pornhub or on RuneScape?
Both.
Ooh, Josh, don't get suspended. Speaking of like massive like online RPG type things, the next one we've got is Phantasy Star Online. Did you ever play Phantasy Star?
See, no, because that was just one of those games where, it was ahead of its time. Same thing, but the problem was it was for the GameCube, and I think it was like only one of the few games on the GameCube that you could actually play online.
I don't have gameplay for this one, but I forgot I put this image in here. Apparently, this was a keyboard someone would use while playing this on the GameCube.
I believe it.
First of all, I'm a big fan of what was that wireless controller, the Wavebird.
Oh yes, the Wavebird.
So I love that the Wavebird just eventually became this. This thing is beautiful. I want it. I kind of like instead of using an Xbox controller and keyboard, like just give me that GameCube controller and I will play anything. I do not care.
That's just it though. I think Fantasy Star Online is the only game you can use that for on the GameCube.
Well, yeah, nothing else. Like you could, there was, I forget what the trick was with Mario Double Dash, but yeah, there was really nothing you could do playing online. Moving down the list, so we're already out of January. See, this is gonna go so much faster.
We're getting there. 11 months to go.
Speaking of Mario, have you heard of this man made of paper called Paper Mario? Have you heard of Paper Mario, Josh?
Oh yeah, I played it.
Another a little RPG heavy, which kind of feels right. I remember early, like a lot of, like even thinking to recent year. Well, 2010 is not recent anymore, but I remember Mass Effect 2 was a January release, and there were some other RPGs that year. It just felt like January, February for the longest time was like, oh, this is your RPG time to get it out.
Oh, for sure. And even then, this is their, if I remember correctly, this was Nintendo's second attempt of a RPG because he had that.
Wasn't it just called Super Mario RPG the last time?
Yeah, and it was definitely. It was definitely like one of those you would never expect it, and it didn't feel like a Mario game, but it had all the Mario characteristics as far as like you had Bowser, you had Mario, Princess Peach, Goombas. You had everything, and then it was weird.
Never even seen these guys with the maces, but I wish more Mario characters had maces to just strike you with.
Well, those, if I remember correctly, those were the boomerang guys. Usually they toss boomerangs at you.
Oh, they just gave them maces?
Yeah.
I've never played any of these. I'm aware of them. What was the newest one? Was that
was Origami King?
Origami King. I think of Thousand Year Door a lot. Isn't that the second one?
Yeah. I would say I think that's probably the most well-known of the Paper Marios. And then if you're going to go RPG-wise, of course, it's going to be Mario and Luigi, probably Superstar Saga.
Oh yeah, I remember.
But yeah, so definitely. I mean, like I said, their second attempt of an RPG. It's fantastic. Nick is totally ruining the moment.
I'm still here talking Mario with you. I never went anywhere. Mario, Paper
Anyway, oh yeah,
Mario. So we were talking Zelda earlier. Speaking of Zelda, and I forgot these were OG, these were Capcom. These are Capcom guys.
these are Capcom.
These are yeah. This was when Nintendo was like, hey y'all want to do, you all want to do our Nintendo stuff, and that's when they did Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. I think Nintendo was like kind of getting. I think at this point Nintendo was getting cocky about the double Pokemon releases, and they were like, hey, I bet we could do that shit with Zelda, and so they did that. I really think that's what happened here.
I could see that they got that they overhyped everything because they were like, oh man, I like the fact that we're making the same amount of money for two games that are basically the same thing.
Well, and they never did it again. I do. Well, first of all, I love that I found this video that plays them side by side.
That is cool.
Brownie points to me. But I do love how like something you did in one affects stuff that couldn't you play one and then take your save data and go into the other after you beat it?
I don't remember, but I know if you look at the plots for them, they kind of like intertwine almost.
Are these a pain in the ass to emulate, especially if you're trying to get the full experience?
Not necessarily. I mean, the hardest game, in my opinion, to emulate, released for the Nintendo consoles that I've come across, is Boktai.
Because of the sensor.
The sensor. Yep. And then there's ways you can do like where it like gauges based on time, but it's finicky and it doesn't work right. So, but well, yeah,
I just think of our experience with Metroid, and I remember Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission had something where they went together where if you beat Fusion at a certain percentage, you got the Fusion suit, Samus, and Zero Mission. So I've always wondered, like, how hard is it to like transfer that save from the emulated Fusion to the emulated Zero Mission?
It can't be that hard. I know there's a company out there that actually made like a docking station for if you have like physical copies of the Game Boy Advance games or Game Boy Color, where it emulated the console and you would put the game in and it would actually play it like that. So there's a way to do it. I don't know off the top of my head. We could always try later and just see.
We could always check it out, but don't tell Nintendo. Don't tell Nintendo.
No, don't tell Nintendo. Don't tell anybody, guys. Keep it to yourselves.
We don't need to get shut down. Not yet. We're just getting started, folks. That would be really rude of them to shut us down this early. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yes.
I never played this version of it. I played the Xbox version of it. Doesn't this start with it starts with a D-Day reference? Aren't they like rushing?
Well, that was the Xbox one because there's the game mode where you could you played basically D-Day where the squirrels were running in up the teddy bears land. So the bears were the Germans and the squirrels were the Americans, and they were trying to storm the beaches basically.
I just remember Conker's friend like watching someone get their head blown off and then throwing up.
Yeah.
First of all, this game just looks terrible. This game looks like it's 30 years old.
Well, I hate to be that guy, but Rare made this one too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this was OG Rare.
So Rare did 3 games on the same console and the same engine with the same art style.
So that was this and then the 2 banjos?
This, Donkey Kong 64.
I forgot they did 64.
Banjo. Yeah.
Rare, man. Well,
but this was like Rare, like they were like, oh man, let's do a bunch of drugs and let's do stupid stuff. And this was like the result of it.
They just saw like their first episode of South Park and they're like, hey, let's make a nutty ass squirrel and make him curse on the Nintendo 64. That was their goal.
And they accomplished it.
I'm glad that Sea of Thieves is working out for them. It seems it's got way longer legs than anyone expected.
Honestly, I expected it to be dead within the first year, and the fact that it's still going and still has content, I have to give them credit.
I said way longer legs. I meant way longer sea legs. I'll be here all night,
like
folks.
Alive, not in Davy Jones's locker. So
I'll be here all episode with jokes like that. Next up, Onimusha Warlord. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about Shenmue, this is what I thought we were talking about.
This was Devil May Cry before Devil May Cry was a thing.
But those cameras, someone in that exec room was like, "Hey, You know the fixed camera angles that people love in Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, Silent Hill, and everything scary? We should put that in like a game where you're a ninja. Or I'm sorry, a samurai.
Yeah, it's like I get it. It's like that was the big thing at the time, but at the same time, like there could be somebody around that corner and you would have no idea
Just
until
I'm
either you
watching
saw it in the next camera.
I'm watching this with the tank controls. I'm just like, why would you do this to yourself? What are you doing? Please stop.
I don't even know if I would attempt that. I've heard good things about it, but I don't know if I would attempt it.
I would not. No, thank you. So that was Onimusha Warlords. Josh, did you ever play any Unreal Tournament?
The only one I ever played was I believe it was 3 for the 360.
I think I played 2004. I think that was originally for the PC, but came out on the Xbox eventually. People love the shit out of, oh, this guy's doing a bunch of hacking stuff. I think I was watching this video. I think someone got their head shot. It was just the stupidest, goofiest thing. This is also a weird one. I don't know if this came out earlier, because this is the Dreamcast version we're watching right now.
I'm sure it did for the PC. It's probably like a PC release and then turned into the Dreamcast. But still, once again, PC gaming at that time was not as,
it was the
one
Wild
might
West.
say, as great as it is now. Like obviously, if you got the people who are like the PC master racers, and then you have console lovers, but PC, I think at the time PC just wasn't as big or as well known.
When I think of PC Master Race, though, I think of like these games in the early 2000s, like these shooters that weren't anywhere else. And I remember like people like, and right around the time PC games like this would start coming to consoles, people would just shit on them, rightfully so, because they ran like dog shit. But
yeah, they developed it for the PC, and then they're like, "Hey, we need more money. Let's put it to the Dreamcast.
Give us more money, damn it. We need
But
money."
no, this actually looks like it's running decently well, though.
Yeah, I think this also has an HD skin on it, if I'm not mistaken.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
Continuing through March. By the way, we're in March. We've been in March since Conker's Bad Fur Day. Black and White, which was another... I believe this was from the team who did The Sims, or this is Peter Molyneux, I believe. One of those God games. People love the hell out of these God games.
We get to play God and destroy and give life.
This guy's going through the booklet.
The manual?
Game manuals. They don't do them anymore.
No. I don't know. Have you seen the video of like the wild copies of the GTA trilogy?
Oh, of the one that they're burning and like burying right now?
Yes.
They're supposed to be. So people have found like the OG ones?
No, people have found the physical copies of the trilogy remastered.
R.I.P. Lionhead Studios, by the way. So the ones that are supposed to be destroyed. So what's going on with them?
So there's a video on Reddit. Some guy got a copy. He opened it up. It was for the PS4, and there's no maps. There's no manual, and the CD is just basic. I mean, there's nothing like, you know how we're used to like getting a GTA game. We're used to getting this at least fold out of the map at least.
Well, and you knew they weren't going to do any of those printouts. They've stopped doing printouts a long time ago. I want to say the last time I remember getting a printout like a map in a game was probably the first Red Dead Revolver, or for Red Dead was that Red Dead Revolution or Red Dead Redemption? Red Dead Redemption.
God. No, when I bought GTA 5 for the 360, it had it.
Okay, GTA 5 did have a map. You're right.
I don't know if like when they were doing the Xbox One and PS4, if it came with it, but I remember when I bought the 360 copy, day after release, by the way, used copy at GameStop, got it for $30
of GTA.
Still
5.
have the map of GTA 5.
Someone blew. I bet you that was someone at the store who like blew through it, like opened it, and then just brought it back and was like, "Yeah, we'll sell it for 30."
No, so it was 54, but I had my 10% off thing because I was the pro member, and then I had like the $20 off coupon.
Way to show them, Josh.
Oh, hey, I was pretty happy. That's my second greatest achievement at GameStop. The first one being part of the waves of people who found that exploit of getting 60% extra on trade-ins and making like $500.
Did they try to rip you off and be like, "Well, we have to apply the $20 off first, and then we'll use your percentage"?
No, it was before that. So
okay.
I was able to get the 10% off then, and then the $20 off.
Okay, just making sure they didn't take you for a ride. It's the last thing I want to happen to you. But yeah, that was Black and White. We talked about Grand Theft Auto the entire time, but that was Black and White. Oh, Josh, you like this next one?
Yes, I do.
I know you do. So this, I guess, this is like I don't know when Konami found the time or when Kojima found the time to do Zone of Enders. It's kind of crazy to me because, and we'll get into it later. MGS2 comes out like a few like later on in the year. Like this game was fun. It doesn't look good anymore. Like I think this is even an HD version, but my goodness.
Yeah, so this was definitely, I think, more just a pet project. And even then, if you play the actual game and you just blow through the story on easy, it's only like a 2-hour game. It's not very long.
Did they steal that HUD from Fallout?
Maybe. I actually don't know. No, they definitely, no, that's definitely the same HUD from Metal Gear Solid. It's just staying on there continuously.
It's got oh yeah, it's got the health and everything. This there's a lot of green there. I see some trees that could be bushes. I see some roads that could actually just be dirt. There's some cars and traffic. For some reason, the mechs are driving. The mechs are flying around, and the cars are like, "Oh, yeah, normal day in wherever this is, Korea."
No, this is in a satellite colony off of Jupiter.
Off of Jupiter.
Or coming from Jupiter, yeah.
I remember
I love
those
these Avengers. And then actually, if you watch if it flies around and you watch his legs or his feet, it's the same grinding animation you would see in Metal Gear.
He better do it.
Like he did it a couple times. You can just skip it at this point.
Oh no, I see what you're talking about. I remember
but just
what you're talking
cool
about.
little tidbits. Like you can tell this was definitely a Kojima game. They used so many of the same things that they used in the Metal Gear series.
Same assets.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Words are difficult.
Closing out March. We're already 3 months in. I didn't realize this released so close to the original. It kind of blew my mind when I saw this already. Pokemon Stadium 2.
Better than the first one.
I would say in some elements better than the first one. I like I think Gen 2 is my favorite generation of Pokemon, even though when I went through them, I was like, who the hell is that? I don't remember who that is. I think they have the best Eevee evolutions.
Oh, that's true.
The best starters, the best legendaries. I think Tyranitar is the best. What do they call it? What do they call those Pokemon that are like right before the legendaries? Are they quasi-legendaries?
Something like that. But they're basically the same category.
Oh, there's like 2 or 3 Pokemon on this start screen, Josh.
And I guarantee you I'm not going to name half of them.
Not going to be able to name half. I like it. But yeah, the menus were better. I feel like the battles were better. The mini games were so-so.
You didn't play Pokemon Stadium for the mini games. You played to take your own Pokemon in. We discussed this. You brought your own Pokemon in, or you went and you're like, know what? I bet you I can beat you with all beginning style Pokemon over your legendaries.
I think this was the easier way to battle your Pokemon instead of like, okay, we need 2 Game Boys. Well, you might have already had them, but okay, we need cords. Okay, now we have to sit there and wait for these Game Boys to sync up and play, which you're just hooking them up with like, what was it? Like the great grandfather of USB cords.
Yes, I think it was USB 1.
Oh.
I think I could be wrong. I don't remember. It's been a while.
It's crazy. We're watching Pokemon Stadium 2, but every battle we've seen so far, there's a Gen 2 Pokemon. Who doesn't like their Miltank?
And that was the nice thing about this one too, is it had both Gen 1 and Gen 2.
Yeah, they didn't cut any. Because didn't Sword and Shield cut out some stuff, didn't they?
They cut out a ton. There's like different... It's like a mixture of all the generations. It's not like a specific generations in there.
I think it gets to a point where like those who play like competitively, they're never gonna go back and use a Nidoking or a Nidoqueen or any shit like that. So I get Game Freak's need to want, or the necessity to need to cut stuff, but then also your fucking slogan is gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all.
Per game. They get you with that fine print.
All you have to do is say, Gotta catch what we put in. Gotta catch what we put in. Gotta
No,
catch what you put
literally,
in. Gotta catch what you put in.
if you
Gotta...
ever read like the cases of games, it literally says "gotta catch them all," and then it has a little asterisk, and you go down to the bottom of the back, and it literally in like the tiniest print possible, only available in this game.
Gotta catch them all. Asterisks. I'm sorry. You can't technically catch them all. We're sorry.
You can, but it's going to cost you hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars.
And then what's that thing that you do now? The Pokemon Bank, that your mobile game where you can transfer them to your phone and like save them in your little bank. And then when a new Pokemon comes out, you can transfer them from. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'll send you a link.
You have to show me because I have no idea what you're talking about, to be honest.
This one. So we did have one game in April. It's called The Adventures of Cookie and Cream, which I think is the dumbest name I've ever heard. But I was kind of like, we need to check this out. The people need to know about Cookie and Cream.
We needed an April release, is what you're telling me.
We needed an April release.
And this is the only April release where you're like, no, what, guys, we're going to go for it.
This looks like it was kind of like a racer. So like, you know those Mario Party like mini games where you have the screen is split and the two characters are like pressing buttons to race. This is kind of the vibe I was getting from it. I think
it looks like that kind of mixed with like Crash Bandicoot.
I think this is honestly the whole game is just these little races, which it sounds like it would be a perfect N64 game.
That just sounds awful. This sounds like a game like you're at Blockbuster and you're like, I want something new to play. Oh, cookies and cream. Sure, I'll grab this. And
I
then
like
you get
that ice cream.
You get it. You play for like 15 minutes. And you're like, I could have gotten Mario Party.
Josh, you are not at the end of the show. You are not allowed to like ban cookies and cream.
I'm banning it already. It's already done in my head.
It's the easy answer, Josh. Don't pick the easy answer.
All right, I won't do the easy answer for everyone.
All right, now we move into May with the very first Red Faction. I played a little bit of this. This is one of those games that was like way in over my head when I was a kid because I was also bad at shooters. I also played it on console. This was a PS2 original, and it was a console shooter before Halo. Oh, and it's not showing up on the screen. Cute.
Wow.
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 It's not a stream if there's not technical difficulties. Technically, there we go. It was just weird.
It was not. I mean, maybe for its time, but if you think about it, it's one of the few games that like if you're like looking for a feature that a lot of games try to bring in or currently bring in, destructible environment, Red Faction was the way to go.
Well, they didn't do the destructible environments until, what was that? Not Anarchy. Was it Red Faction? Not Armageddon. They had a bunch of these. They had
Red
so
Faction
many
is the first one because if I remember correctly, you start in like the mining tunnels, and you were able to pick up like rockets and C4, and you could actually blast your own path through the level.
I don't recall this.
I don't think I'm thinking of 2. If I'm thinking of 2, I'm crazy. I could have sworn
I just
it was
know
1.
when they went third person and like you could destroy bases and like.
Oh yeah,
so
so the first time they went third person is the third one. That one you're just not Armageddon, but
yeah, I can't think of that because I think Armageddon was the one underground. I don't know. I hate when
yeah, Armageddon was the one that started like you're basically underground. Yeah,
I hate when series like this, like, okay, there's like 20 of us, we need to drop the number, start using words, hopefully they can differentiate us, and it's like, no, we can't, I'm sorry.
Let's just see how that grenade goes off real quick. Hopefully he goes back in there. Oh, it didn't do anything. Okay, well, I could have sworn it was Red Faction. It was the first one because.
Hold on, let's watch this grenade. Hold on now. No, I see the floor is fine. That's some sturdy linoleum.
Well, we'll have to look it away. I could have sworn it was because I remember thinking as a kid when I first played it, I was like, man, this is really cool. And you can destroy the environment. You can make your own path. That was like really cool at the time. And now as an adult, I'm like, okay, well, I'm actually curious. Like, what was the first destructible environment?
Yeah,
that had actually been around for a few years.
That room did not get touched at all. Sorry to say.
Well, either way, still a good game in my opinion. At the time, now not so much.
Moving ahead, I have Crazy Taxi 2 on here. It's Crazy Taxi, but with a 2 attached to it. We could pull up the video, but May's kind of a big month.
Yeah, I was just
No
the same
disrespect
thing.
to the taxi drivers out there. I know you guys already have it so hard with Uber and Lyft and all those other guys eating your lunch. I'm sorry. Hopefully you guys can turn it around. 2022 is your year. Bejeweled. Bejeweled. I didn't pull up
Bejeweled.
video of Bejeweled because you know what Bejeweled is.
Nick, tell us what Bejeweled is, though, for those who don't know.
Bejeweled is a puzzle game where you have to match the jewels to get them to evaporate. It's the games that your moms, your grandmas, your great grandmas have been playing on their browser or their phone for the last 20 years. And it just so happens that Bejeweled was inducted into the World Computer Video Game Hall of Fame last year. I think it was a slow year, but they're in, damn it.
No.
Put some respect on their name. And I believe this was a PopCap. This was a PopCap joint. So they come out swinging for the fences with Bejeweled. I love that. I think PopCap's gonna be the devs that we like keep tabs on through all these years.
But what's the face it? They're currently, besides Tetris, they are the reason why we are stuck with games like Candy Crush.
They didn't do Candy Crush, Josh.
I know they didn't do it, but they were the reason like it exists.
Well, puzzle games are gonna take over either way, but
They were, but I mean, let's face it, Candy Crush is essentially a knockoff of Bejeweled.
I think PopCap started out that way because Bejeweled is very much of that vine. But then you get into the tower defense with Plants vs. Zombies. You get into Peggle, which is its own crazy little like pachinko type machine that like makes you feel good when you hit that last red dot and it starts to play Ode to Joy and you're just having a good time. But we'll get to PopCap. They'll be around. They will be around. Bejeweled came out May 30th. Moving ahead into June 8th. Castlevania Circle of the Moon hitting GBA,
Wow.
if I remember correctly.
Yes, and it was the first time going back to 2D and being on a portable console.
And this is like a true like casual like a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah, so this
isn't
is
a
after
faux pas.
like their whole 3D craze on the 64. So this is after Castlevania 64 and the one after that I can't remember. But
I was a big like when we were growing up, like we had a lot of experience with Castlevania Bloodlines, which was just like your level based. I don't know, like I think Castlevania. Well, I think the same thing of Resident Evil. I think Castlevania is too spooky for me.
really?
I don't like how spooky it is.
I mean, okay, so if you're giving me like maybe the more recent ones, like the 3D, give me like help me out here. I can't think of the names. Lord of Darkness.
People like Lord of Darkness, don't they?
They do, but if you give me something like that where it seems like a little more scary, like a little more lifelike, yeah, I agree. It's maybe a little scary to some aspect, but this stuff is like children's play. Who doesn't want to use a whip to kill zombies and destroy Dracula every single time?
It's too scary, and the boss fights are scary. Like it's Castlevania has never been my cup of tea, except for that multiplayer one that we played all those years ago. That one was
Symphony of
okay.
Despair?
Yeah, Harmony of Despair.
Or Harmony of Despair, yeah.
That was fun. Except
Which,
for the
fun fact, if I get it working, that might be one of our streams.
Okay, I'd be down for that. I'd be terrible at it. I'd be down for it though.
We're all going to be terrible at it.
Oh yeah, so bad. I'm gonna need a controller. I can't play it on PC. I can't play it on keyboard and mouse. The next game, I didn't realize this game was 20 years old. Came out June 18th. Twisted Metal Black.
I didn't realize it was that old either.
I like for real. I saw this and I was like, this game is 20 years old. There is no way. But yeah, 20 years old. I remember their trailer or their cutscenes being very cinematic. This was another game that kind of gave me spooky vibes.
There's only two things I remember from this game. One, I hate Sweet Tooth. He's terrifying as hell.
Well, you just hate clowns, but yeah.
Yes. Two, Black.
What about
I think
it?
that's the name of the song.
They used Paint It Black by
Yes, thank you.
it's not the Doors, it's the one with the guitar player that won't die. I see a red door and Rolling Stones. There it is.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I want to paint it black. And that's
I
all
just
I can
remember
sing.
those two things.
Or else Mick Jagger pops out. Oh, look, see, here's some of that cutscenes. I remember this guy being scary.
I forget who he even is.
I think his name's Billy. He's just getting his revenge on people. Look at those eyes.
Look at that nose.
Surprised they haven't done a Twisted Metal movie, if I'm being honest.
Why is that guy dressed like a World War II pilot?
Probably because there's a plane in front of him, Josh.
Well, I get that now. It's been 20 years. I'm just like, wait a minute, why is he dressed like a pilot? And then it's like, okay, this makes
Oh
more sense. Oh, we have to
no!
watch it now. We have to
Oh,
watch it.
he's gonna fly over him. He's not gonna hurt him.
Well, no, he's definitely gonna hurt
Oh,
him.
he's just gonna take off. He's not gonna.
No, no,
Oh
no.
God. Oh God.
Oh, what was his name? That's
Was that
Calypso. That's sad. I mean, it's not sad, but
I think I think Eclipso made a pretty good impression. I only remember him from Twisted Metal 4. Like Twisted Metal 4 I loved, and then anytime you heard anyone else talk about it, I fucking hate this game. Twisted Metal 1 and 2 are the good ones. But I
we
love
played 2 a
4.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
this
was
is
a
a
dark
good
game.
one though.
This is a dark
Very
game.
dark.
I've always liked those games where like, oh hey, you can unlock all these different endings from all these different characters. Like Mortal Kombat was always good about that.
Mm-hmm.
At least from a 4 on. And then I think Tekken had some too. Twisted Metal was another good one as well though. Hey, we're in July now.
Hey,
Gran Turismo 3, I forgot how much of a banger that was. That came out on July 10th. Made a bunch of top games of all times lists. So, like, made top 100 games IGN in 2003. So, 3 years later, it was still making a good impression. Or 2 years later. This was probably the last good Gran Turismo, if I'm remembering correctly.
see, I only remember playing 1 and 2, and then I don't think I've touched a Gran Turismo since.
I don't think they had damage in 3 either. I don't think... Until Forza really started eating their lunch, I don't think they had damage. I think they were working it into 4, if I remember correctly, and 4 had a lot of delays. And then I think they had to pull the plug on it in 4. I just
Was
remember
4 the one where they had like they were trying to release it, and then there were so many issues, and people who are on the beta were like booing it to the point where they're like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, no, I want to say 4 was 2004, 2005. It was still PS2.
But it was like at the end of its life, wasn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't Gran Turismo, that's for sure. These guys, so this next game came out July 23rd from Remedy, who are in the news again because Alan Wake 2 has just got announced. Max Payne, which I love these games. They're just stupid fun, like stupid good fun. Like, oh, hey, we're going to fill this room with bad guys and you need to come in and just shoot your way around. Like,
And
it was always
just
fun diving. It's a good like mob story. Like,
it really is. I mean, not only is it a great story, but unfortunately, I say unfortunately because it's one of those games that it's not the first to do it. Just like Red Faction, it's not the first game to do it, but it's the most recognizable for bullet time.
And it did such a good job at it.
It did. I mean, if I remember correctly, isn't there a scene where like he's hallucinating and as he's jumping through different rooms, it's slow the whole entire time?
Yeah, I think it's his dream. It's the dream sequence. I forgot they did comic cutscenes. They did that for 1 and 2. I don't remember if they did it for 3. I think 3 was just full on cutscenes, but I also think 3 didn't have Remedy involved at all. But 3 was still a banger.
Fun fact: I've never played 3.
I think 3 is pushing like 10 years old right now, but I think it still holds up.
Man, that doesn't make you feel old.
How do you think I feel, homie? I'm turning 30 in a few weeks. Don't even get me started. Don't you do it. All right, so I think we're moving on to July next now. No, we got one more, which I'm not going to pull up a video for it because we did a video for the last one. Pokemon Crystal came out in the States. And I remember this one was a little bigger because they actually animated the sprites. So the Pokemon would come out and it'd be like, "Brah."
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
And people, I lost my fucking mind because, oh my God, they're moving. They just usually stand there, but they're fucking moving.
Not only that, but like I said, didn't this one have like all the Pokemon? Like you didn't have to have both Silver and Gold to get the Pokemon. You could literally just play Crystal and have all of them.
I think Crystal was pretty good about giving you like everything you needed for the most part.
I know for a fact that you still had to at least have another copy to get your beginner Pokemon.
Well, because you still had those Pokemon that like to evolve into their stage 3 had to be traded.
Right.
So you still had to work that out. My cat is beating on the glass over there. It scared the hell out of me. So that came out July 29th. Josh, we're skipping August because there was nothing that I thought we needed to cover in August. And this was like the status quo. Like July, maybe you had a few bigger releases. August, you didn't have a damn thing. And then September, the bangers came out.
Now, good old September.
And remember, and we're going to talk about the console releases in the news, but remember, this is right around the time GameCube, Game Boy Advance, and Xbox came out. And it blows my mind that Nintendo put out basically 2 consoles in a year. It's nuts.
That is very nuts. I think it's the only time they've ever done it too, right?
SP, so everything Game Boy. I don't know. I'd have to look and see like DS, 3DS, how those line up with the Wii. It's pretty close.
The 3DS has to be about the same time as the Switch because they were able to utilize the
Switch, or you mean the Wii?
No, that'd be so. The 3DS would be the Switch because the 3DS has had the little
the 3DS is so
extra
much
devices.
The 3DS is so much older than the Switch, Josh. Switch came out in 2017.
Yeah, but when did Metroid come out?
Metroid
Return of Samus.
Metroid Return of Samus came out at the end of 3DS.
Okay, we'll have to look at it. We'll look at it later. But I know. Anyway, continue on.
So Advance Wars came out in September.
Another banger.
This looks good. I like the older sprites. Like this makes me want to go play XCOM or go play. I forgot that was how you captured. They just bounced on them. I love that. This is fun. This is also maddening how hard this game was.
Oh, but these cinematics for the Game Boy Advance are so good.
Oh, they're so juicy.
I mean, I'm if there's any remaster I'm pumped for, it's definitely this.
When's that remaster come out?
Second quarter next year. I could be wrong on that.
I thought it'd be a holiday. Come on, Nintendo.
I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't seen it in a hot minute. I mean,
they just had an indie direct today, and everything that was announced was like something that's already out somewhere else. They're getting Chicory though. Chicory's pretty cool.
Yeah, spring 2022 is the release date currently.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that. I might have to get a Switch for that. They should introduce online multiplayer for those. I'd be there.
I think they possibly plan on it, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're in 2001, Nick. We're back in the good old days.
September, so 14 days later, on the 24th of September, Silent Hill 2 came out. Silent Hill 2, I think the biggest thing they did with this, because I don't think, like, everyone hails Silent Hill, but I don't think anyone's ever actually played Silent Hill 1, unless it was in retrospective. Silent Hill 2, I think it's a great story just about infidelity and dishonesty in a relationship. But what they really, the number one thing they did, you know him, you love him. He's so good that they put him in the first movie, Pyramid Head. Like, he's terrifying.
Oh, he's definitely terrifying. Between that and the fog when you're walking throughout the town.
I have a confession. My first one was Silent Hill 3, and that game scared the shit out of me. So I don't think I ever went back and played 2, but I watched videos of it.
I only remember watching you play 3, thinking I'm never going to play this game.
Oh, and the puzzles are hard too. So if you put, like, I think you can set the difficulty for the game, like the combat, but also for the puzzles. And there's one in the bookstore at the beginning of 3 where you have to arrange these Shakespeare books in order. And if you play the harder difficulty, you don't have the title of the book, you just have the description. So it was kind of one of those games where you had to sit down and like take notes and like, okay, I think this is Romeo and Juliet. If you didn't know Shakespeare, you were kind of boned, or you had to turn down the difficulty.
So earlier you said Resident Evil and Castlevania scared you. That's like child's play compared to Silent Hill. Silent Hill is like even as an adult, and I know that it's all fake, I'm hesitant to pick it up.
When we get to 3's release, we'll have to pull up a video of the Blood Room.
No, good old Blood Room.
The blood. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I said, I remember watching you play 3. That's the only time I've ever seen gameplay for it, was watching you.
The room with the mirror, like, it shouldn't be scary, but it's just the most unsettling thing.
Yeah.
One last banger for September. On the 30th, Eco came out. I think Eco was probably the game that started the whole "are video games art" conversation, and I'd be willing to say yes, they are.
I mean, how could you not? When you get something as masterfully done as this, or even like if you look at like Shadow of the Colossus even.
Oh, I think Shadow of the Colossus is one of the best games ever made. Don't even get me started.
Oh,
We'll
no,
have to
I
wait.
100% agree.
We'll have to wait for 2005, 2006 to talk about that one. But yeah, this looks fine. I mean, Shadow made me want to check this out, so I played a little bit of it back in the day. Uh, I, yeah, Team Eco. I just love how everything kind of feels like it could be in the same world between all their games.
Well, there's that theory too that like Eco is set before Shadow of the Colossus.
Something like that. They're intertwined in some weird way, but I love how they're all like you feel like they could all be in the same world, but they're all
Easily.
very different games. It's very much a style,
Very much.
very much a
But it's a
style.
fantastic style.
And then just a few notes I had here on Eco. Little fun facts I pulled from some sources that were mentioned on Wikipedia, and I did some digging. Several game designers, such as Eiji Anama, Hideo Kojima, and Jordan Mechner, have cited as having influenced the visual appearance of their games, including Twilight Princess, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and the Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. And looking back at all three of those, I see it now. The way the lighting is used.
I can definitely see that for Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
I can see that for
the lighting definitely feels like, oh hey, like these guys played Eco, and because I remember Snake Eater just being very bright. Like Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 were very gray games, very dark games. 3, even though it was in the dark woods, like it was very bright a lot of the time.
no, I mean you can definitely tell that they played Eco and were just like, my goodness, like we need to make a game like this, as far as in the style.
Yeah, so it was the blurring, the color wash, the lighting, and texture techniques. So I thought that was pretty cool. Josh, you also mentioned this game earlier. This will kick off our October. Devil May Cry. I don't have gameplay for it. If you don't know Devil May Cry, go Google Devil May Cry
And you're missing out.
because you're missing out. Uh, the game is. I wrote this down. This was my note. The game has also been described as being the first game that successfully captured the Twitch-based, relentlessly free-flowing gameplay style of so many classic 2D action games. Is that believable, Josh? Do you agree with that?
I don't know about the classic 2D action, but
Like it emulated that and brought it into the 3D realm.
yeah, okay, I can see that. I'd agree. I mean, so I obviously never played it as a kid, but I got to enjoy it as a teenager and into an adult. It's a fantastic series. I mean, first off, you have your Peter Parker meets Castlevania, basically. You have your guy who's good with quips and is just really
Oh,
quick with
he's
a sword.
so quippy.
It's so good. Like, it's almost like if you go somewhere and you make fun of someone's mom and they go right back at you with like an even better joke and you have nothing you can say. That's the kind of stuff I want. The humor is fantastic, the action is great, and then of course it's the replayability. Not only do you have to go through for the story to get more unlockables, but then you're going into, okay, well, I want to get triple S rank.
Actually, I've always liked those. I'm bad at them, but I do like trying for them, even though I know I'm not going to get them.
Well, then and then I watch that stuff, or like I'll play it, and I'm like, okay, I can get S rank. That's cool. But then you watch somebody on YouTube or even like a speed runner do these games, and they're getting it like it's nothing. Like there's just like, yeah, this is actually like the really hard part, and it's like, really, you're sitting here beating these guys on the hardest difficulty with one hand, and it takes me 2 hours, 10 attempts, and an S rank to even attempt it.
Yeah, they're just kind of being buttholes about it.
But still, fantastic. It is definitely a banger in October. And it's honestly one of the greatest franchises out there, and I think it definitely helped the. Um,
It
oh,
definitely stands out. Like when I opened October, then that was the first. That was the first one that stood out. I was like, "Yep, I have to put this one on there. If I don't,
you
I'm
have to.
stupid." Let's see here. Going up. Oh, this one. I won't even say its name. October 22nd. Let's see if you guys can guess that game. I'm just gonna put it on the screen. You don't have to guess it.
God, it is not a.
Man, looks. That doesn't look totally bad.
No, but it still hasn't aged well compared to what we're seeing now.
No, it's got its share of issues. But you know what? I'm looking at this. This doesn't look terrible. It makes me want to visit New York again. This is GTA 3, if you haven't guessed by now.
It honestly, looking back at GTA 4 and down, it makes me not miss the once you die during a mission, you have to restart from the beginning.
Oh yeah, mechanically there were some things that needed to be fixed. Like if I fail a mission that took me 10 minutes to drive across the city, I should not have to drive across the city again to start that or to do this part of the mission. This one you also couldn't swim, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you couldn't swim until San Andreas.
Yeah, and that was the dumbest thing, especially on the Vice City side. You're telling me you can't swim in Miami?
Yeah, like
You
come
got
on.
beaches everywhere, man.
And I'm pretty sure there's several scenes where you see Tony in the pool, and it's like he can swim. He can't. And then if you like play the actual game, you jump into a deep enough pool, you died, and it's like really,
It's like, what are you doing, Tony?
Tony, come
Or
on,
Tommy,
you can
what are you
swim.
doing, Tommy?
Tommy, not Tony.
Tommy, what are you doing? But I mean, this is the game that's basically molded every open world game since this point.
Pretty much.
Thanks,
You got your little mini
Rockstar.
map on the bottom left. You got your money and health in the top right, or you're out in the bottom right.
Thanks, Rockstar. You did it. You guys did
Milk
it.
that cow. Milk it.
Milk that. Well, they're milking the multiplayer now. They don't give a shit about story stuff. But that Dr.
Well,
Dre
you
stuff
tell
does.
that to the trilogy.
That Dr. Dre stuff does look good. Ballad of Gay Tony and The Lost and the Damned. Mwah, do more of it. What are you afraid of, Rockstar? You're afraid of not making money, I know. We've got another 3, Josh. Can you guess?
No. I guess I'll have to wait and see.
6 days later, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. I think this was the game changer. We were talking about 2 last time. I think 3 was the real game changer. Look at this combo this man is putting together. Hold on, let's see if he manuals. Did he manual? He didn't manual that time. He was also at the end. Hold on.
Was this the first time you could manual?
This was the very first time you could manual. And this doesn't look as good. This kind of looks like it was on Gamecube.
Probably was on GameCube, honestly. This one looks like it's being played on GameCube.
Oh, I remember this little town. That house in front of him is haunted. Oh, this guy's not very good at Tony Hawk. I should have picked a better video. Oh, but that was a sick nose slide. Oh, hold on. He's going to make this jump. No, he's taking it too slow. Nope. Man.
How can you not land? Oh, my goodness. This guy is terrible.
Hold on. Maybe it's just a bad level for him. Yo, this guy's bad at Tony Hawk. I'm going to have to pick up a copy of THPS 3 because this cannot be the best Tony Hawk video that I found on the internet.
Like, was this the only video you could find?
It was like one of the first. I was like, okay, this is the one. But this guy, he's not gonna win this skate contest. Not with
he's literally only
grinds like
grinding on everything. Everybody knows you gotta be doing kick flips, you gotta be grinding, you gotta use your manual. And then if you want to be really cool at the very end, you try to do a not Superman. What is it called?
He's not manualing at all. This is making me. I'm gonna be sick. I'm going to be like. This is making me sick.
The fact that he even has like 130,000 right now is making me go, why?
He did okay.
That man should be like in the 500,000s.
You see, your score doesn't even matter. Look, yeah, his ass is in second place where he belongs. Oh, that's Bam Margera too. Sad stuff going on with Bam Margera. I'll stop geeking out over how bad this guy is at Tony Hawk. I'm sorry, guy. You don't deserve that.
No, he does.
But also, do better. If you're gonna play Tony Hawk, play Tony Hawk. Oh, Josh, things are getting heavy. We got a few here. We got a few lighter ones before things get even heavier.
All right, what do you got
Speed
for me?
round. October 30th, Civilization 3 came out. Pretty big sales numbers for it. I didn't pull the numbers, but the charts I saw were the reason that we've got three more Civ games since this one.
Yeah.
Which I think this is a 4X, because I always used to get Age of Empires and Civilization mixed up.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. So
that was October 30th. October 31st, Soul Reaver.
Oh yes.
And the only reason I bring it up is because I didn't know that was Crystal Dynamics.
You didn't know that?
No idea. And now they're doing like the Tomb Raiders. They just did Avengers. Oh man, how cool would it have been if they were the Guardians people? But no, they were the Avengers people. Damn it, Crystal Dynamics.
I mean, they were close. They just didn't.
And then let me see if you can guess what console is out now that I'm naming this next one. Project Gotham Racing 1 came out on November 9th, which I
Okay.
always liked. I liked the kudos system. I kind of wish they'd bring PGR back. I don't know why they haven't. Actually, I think I know why they haven't, because Forza would eat its lunch, and also licensing those cars they had in there, probably a little tough. Probably a little tough. And they're just like, we got the two Forza games. What do we need you for, PGR? They're not wrong. Is there a
They're
spider
not
in my
wrong.
ear? No, it's just a hair.
Honestly, they'll probably wait for Forza to be dead, and then they'll come back.
Yeah, they'll hit like a low point of Forza and be like, it's PGR time, baby. And like that'll be like a big announcement. People will lose their minds, even though it's just PGR. It's like, guys, calm down. It's Project Gotham Racing. Stop. Just stop. Stop. All right, Josh. We're getting into the heavy hitters. We're an hour in. We got this. We're in November. It's November 13th. You're a little kid at home with your PlayStation 2. You might have been popping this game into the PlayStation 2 after trying out a DVD in it because it's cool that it can play DVDs. Do you know what game I'm talking about?
I know exactly what game you're talking about, and the only reason I know why, earlier this year, when we had Zoda vendors, when you bought a brand new copy, it actually came with a demo disc of this game.
Oh, and the demo wasn't the demo. The demo was the tanker.
Yeah,
The first part with Snake.
Mm-hmm.
And people were so pissed. People were so pissed about this game.
And see, I get that because obviously we were not only playing it for the story, but you're playing it to be Snake. You want to be Solid Snake. And after 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on what you're going for, you're not Snake.
If you're taking it slow, that first part can take that first part can take you. Damn it, my mic just zapped the hell out of me. Josh, I think you were right. I think it is this
Surge protector?
surge protector. It's not
I'm telling you, it's the
protecting
only
shit.
thing that's different. You just need to swap it out, and I guarantee you it fixes everything.
I need to get another long one because all the other ones were too short. Ow. But no, so that tanker, if you're not like speed running, can take you about 2 hours. Boss fights are fun. A lot of stuff. So you know how Kojima, like people are kind of like, man, what's this guy got in his freaking crystal ball after all the Death Stranding stuff? If you go back and play this game, there is some shit that was like, oh my god, they're talking about this in 2001. 2001? Like talking about like massive like misinformation shared across the media. There's some stuff in there about just they use the word memes as part of the theme, but it's not the memes that you think. It's like the ideas that we pass along, because the very first one. So the Metal Gear Solid series, the M stands for the memes. This is the meme game. G is for Genes, which is the first one. And then Scenes is the third one, so basically the memes are like the ideas you share with your loved ones. The genes are obviously like the genetics they get from you, and the scenes are like where you came from that affects where your family, like what your family like looks back at and sees about you. And this one, oh my god, and they're just it's so clever. Like there was so much anticipation going into this one, and people. This is basically just like a big fuck you to like hype trains, and just the fact that I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it. So turn your ears off for a minute if you don't want a 20-year-old game spoiled. But just that Raiden's part is just one big simulation to emulate the first game as like a big fuck you to hype is, oh my god, like people in grad school write their thesis about this game. There are thesi on the internet about this game, and I can't get over how good it is. And yes, there's a shirtless vampire who dances around and you have to shoot him. There's a fat man on roller skates. There's a woman whose heart is on the wrong side of her body who carries around a railgun.
And can literally deflect bullets. Literally.
Right. There's another
She's the Neo.
There's another ninja.
And see, not only that, the thing that blew my mind is, for a 20-year-old game, and I behold average times through this. So cutscene wise, 5 hours and 24 minutes worth of cutscenes, right? This is what blows my mind. This was average gameplay. So it's gonna vary, of course, but based on like test of like every difficulty, every play style, gameplay 7 hours and 44 minutes for a total of both of those together 13 hours 8 minutes.
And I'd be willing to bet a lot of that gameplay is the part of it where you're going around looking for the bomb
Oh, I guarantee
or
you
the
for
two
sure.
bombs.
And then if you think about like, okay, you're trying to go for 100%. Okay, we have to do every single difficulty. You have to collect every single dog tag.
Oh, the dog! I forgot about the dog tags.
'Cause I think this is the first time they introduced dog tags, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they had it in the. I don't remember if you could shake anyone down. I don't think you could shake anyone down in the first one because you didn't have the first person mode.
I think you could shake them in the original, but they only gave you like rations and
Ration
food
items.
and yeah. Where I think when you played Twin Snakes, the remaster of it on the GameCube, I think they introduced dog tags in that one.
I think you're right. We'll need to go back and check the books, but I think you are right on this one.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, honestly, 2001. If you had to name 3 games alone, this is definitely on the top 3.
This is up there for me. This might be my number 1 of the year. Josh, not to go all Smash Mouth on you, but the what is it? The years start coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming. 2 days later, on November 15th, Halo Combat Evolved came out.
Literally started what everybody calls the Halo killer. I mean, this is the franchise that started it all. Now everybody's trying to be the copycat of Halo, the destroyer of Halo. And honestly, in my opinion, I don't think anybody has been able to quite cross that, being the Halo killer or the Halo copycat.
You know, people called the first Killzone the Halo killer, and I even think like Sony called it that. I think Killzone 1 and 2 were both pretty good, but I digress. I really do think the appeal of Halo. Well, first of all, it's snappy as hell, but I really do think it's the colors. Like once they get here, let me see if I can find them on Halo. On the Halo. Yeah, so like once they're on, it's bright. They're outside, and then the multiplayer. Like this was a series made off of LAN parties. Because Xbox was out, but Xbox didn't get Xbox Live until 2002, 2003.
Yeah, because I think Halo 2 was the first game they introduced.
I think one of the first like major like Xbox like directly from Xbox Studios.
Right. Yeah, but even then, like, even if you think about it, Halo is such a fantastic series for LAN parties. I mean, I remember, Nick, I'm sure you remember, going to school, after school, and having those huge LAN parties.
Oh, yeah.
For hours.
Just going to someone's basement or going into someone's room with, like, a TV and an Xbox and just setting up. Oh, yeah, 100%. And I honestly, like, this is a game built off multiplayer. The stories are fine. I don't think anyone personally, like, I remember like every game ending with we got to get the hell out of here, shit's blowing up.
Well, that's
all of them. Even probably the RTS ones did it. Like, oh, you have to click your way out of here, run, chief, run.
Well, technically in Reach you didn't escape, and Reach, technically you didn't escape.
Reach, you were just chilling. Like the planet was blowing up and they're like, oh, you're gonna die with it.
It was not you don't even remember Reach. It wasn't blowing up. They were trying, so
they're glassing the planet. It's basically blown. Like
no, they haven't started glassing the planet yet, but it starts off with like they realize that the Covenant have found Earth or Reach, and it starts with you trying to avoid invasion, and at the very end it comes to being, okay, we have to get this top secret project off planet, but the invasion is starting.
Yeah, so they get
defensive line in space can't hold them.
They get Pillar of Autumn off of the planet, and then you're basically there on your own.
And Cortana. And then you decide to stay there to try and hold off as many forces as possible.
And then brings
the greatest end scene to any Halo is you basically fighting the elites to the death. Or implied to the death, because obviously Spartans are never killed in action. They're always considered missing in action.
Did you know that all the Xbox 360 Halos are going offline next month? Like
the original?
So
you're not talking about the Master Chief Collection.
Halo, not Master Chief Collection, but Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach. I don't think you'll be able to play Halo Reach online at all anymore unless they added it to Master Chief for some reason.
Well, they added the game story to it,
Can you play? Can you play Reach
multiplayer.
online
I
multiplayer?
haven't I haven't tried it. We might have to.
Check it out because I was thinking back to it and like Reach multiplayer is not bad. It's not the worst.
No, ODST didn't really even have multiplayer. That just had
ODST just took
the
you to three.
waves.
It took you to three servers.
Right, it gave you like all the DLC basically for
Right.
three, but it also gave you its own version of I forget what it's called, but it's the waves where you fight the waves of enemies.
We need to find out if Reach is still going to be playable on Master Chief Collection, like the online version.
Yeah,
Uh, so
I will check into it.
So after that, Xbox takes a little break. November 18th, 3 days later, Luigi's Mansion comes out, which I'm always been hit or miss on it, but I think it's fine.
I've never played it, but for being one of Luigi's solo games, it's always looked pretty good. I actually played the second and the third, and I've enjoyed both. I just never played the first one. So, I
They
mean,
seem fine.
it looks great. It plays great. It's Luigi. I mean, come on. What's there not to like?
Then after that, rounding out November, Super Smash Bros. Melee coming out on the 21st. I didn't pull clips for these because like, I'm not going through this crap mound of Melee videos of people who think they're professional Melee players. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this, okay?
Oh, but come on. I mean, let's face it though. Melee is the Smash Brothers of all Smash Brothers.
It's the Smash Brothers that toxic Smash Brothers players go back to time and time again. I can't quit you, Melee. I love you, Melee.
I mean, look, okay, so Brawl was terrible.
Brawl
let's be honest.
was unbalanced, right? Pretty
Yeah, it
unbalanced.
was very, very unbalanced, and it had that weird story mode.
Right.
And then,
4 was okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not bad, or it's not like okay. So in my opinion, it goes Melee then 4.
Yeah, and then where do you put Ultimate?
Oh, sorry. So yeah, so it'd go Melee 4 Ultimate, and then I say Ultimate and 4 can be interchanged because they're basically the same thing. I don't mean the exact
Yeah,
same
it was
thing,
just
but they
it
might
was
as
just a
well be.
carryover from the Wii U. They're like, nobody wants this. Okay.
Right.
Here's the same game. We're just gonna do characters and support it for like 3 or 4 years.
Right. So I mean, it's interchangeable at that point, but Brawl was terrible, and 1 is just the godfather of it all. It's just what started it. So it always hold a special place in my heart, but beyond that, it's not going to be on my list.
1 is the family member that broke the cycle of abuse, just so
Yes.
the rest of them could thrive.
Yes.
So then, GameCube keeps it coming with Pikmin, which I've been playing the mobile game, by the way. So much fun. Check it out. It's a good like walking companion game. Just a heads up.
I,
on
I
that.
have to walk to be able to do that.
I have got like 50 Pikmin, so be jealous.
Well, see, I'm the guy who would be driving around and playing it, so
Pikmin was fun. I enjoyed it. The 30-day limit stressed me out. Probably stressed me way too far out to be a kid. But it was fun. They only had the 3 different Pikmin types, but it was a fun world. The missions were fun. The
it
levels
was
were
definitely
fun.
unique. I mean, I enjoyed Pikmin. Like you said, the timing is a little, and that's just I think mainly it was you were learning everything and you were trying to figure out all the puzzles and how to get to each part. So it made it like like the first time you played it, you're like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. Second time you did a little better, and then third time maybe you got to it, but just barely.
The boss fights were really good.
Oh yeah,
The big bird and then the big green guy.
didn't you fight the big frog too, or the big like ladybug thing?
Like the big little mushroom stool guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think the green guy was like an even bigger mushroom stool guy, but he had like green stuff all over him. I don't know.
Right.
Pikmin's one of those games where I'll watch YouTube videos of the boss fights every once in a while. just to feel nostalgic. So that was December 3rd. Also on December 3rd, it's getting late. Also on December 3rd was Jak and Daxter, the Precursor's Legacy.
okay. So obviously this is Naughty Dog's attempt after Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, it was them like, okay, what do we do next? What if we did this kid with a wombat who spun?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But still, they're taking an open world game. Fantastic. I mean, who doesn't want to go around collecting precursor orbs and power cells?
I mean, by the time Jak and Daxter came out, I was platformed out. I was like, no, thank you.
See, I enjoy it to this day. I think actually, I don't enjoy Jak and Daxter. Jak 2
Jack 2 was fun.
Jack 2 is the one if I'm going to pick of the series, but
it changed it up just enough.
it gave you hovercrafts everywhere and guns, and it gave you Dark Jack.
I was more of a Ratchet and Clank guy, honestly.
I mean, we all are secretly, but if we're going to give Naughty Dog a chance.
Naughty Dog, I think when it comes to the race between Naughty Dog and Ubisoft, I think Naughty Dog ended up winning it, at least for the last 2 generations. Insomniac had it for PS2, and then Insomniac was like, hey, we're going to do, what are these called? Resistance? We're going to do these Resistance games, and they were fine, but they weren't Uncharted. They didn't do Uncharted numbers, or the Last of Us numbers. And then Insomniac was like, we're going to go flirt with Microsoft and do Sunset Overdrive. Oh, what are you doing over there, Naughty Dog? Oh, you're doing another Uncharted and another Last of Us? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and even then, Sunset Overdrive could have been so much better.
Well, then Insomniac's like circling back around like, I'm sorry, Papa Sony, I'm sorry. We'll make these Spider-Man games for you.
Take us back.
Take these Spidey-Man games. Sorry, Papa Sony. Last game I have here, Final Fantasy X. I think this was the American release. I can't be too certain. I hate that back in the day, all the releases were split up. It's so dumb.
Well, I get why they did it.
Watching this video when I was going through these kind of got me nostalgic for Final Fantasy X. I don't know why. Try to find a good fight. It's just there's a lot of talking. People give Kojima a lot of shit, but my God, these Final Fantasy games, they love to talk.
They've gotten better.
They've gotten better about it, but come on, you guys. Will you fight? Oh, Riku. Not my crush.
She was definitely my crush.
Here we go. Here's finally a fight. Is that Bahamut?
That's Bahamut.
And we have that. I did like that, like, all these different summoners are going around and getting these summons, and everybody can use them.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic. Well, I mean, you couldn't use it at the same time, but you could at least use them.
So, like, if they had Bahamut out, you couldn't get Bahamut out because he was working his side job.
Nah, man, I'm with Toto today. Toto.
I told you I'm working my other job. Stop fucking calling me. And he is dead.
And it had one of the not weirdest, but it changed its leveling system in this, which we were so used to, like, you know. So we had 8 do its weird. You had to get magic, and then you could attach it to certain attributes for your characters based on what your summonings had. It got really weird, really complicated. 9 went back to levels, great. And then 10. Technically, you didn't gain levels, you gained spheres.
I like the sphere grid. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying, like, they were like, this was like the time of their life where, like, okay, what we're gonna do is one game on with a different way to level up or to make yourself stronger. Because with 8, you didn't. You did level up, but everything else leveled with you. So the idea was, okay, stay at low levels, get all these attributes up. That's what you focused on. Where in 10, it was, okay, they don't follow you, but the stronger you become and the weaker they become, the less experience you gain.
They're like, okay, do you want Frost 3 or do you want Kira 1?
Well, no, I didn't give you Frost 3. Oh, no, they gave you Frost, or not, no Frost.
I'll take Frost. I'll take Frost 3.
Either way, it was definitely the weird time of its life where it's like trying to figure out what it wants to be.
Well, it didn't help that the next one was like, hey, we're doing an MMO. Everyone's doing an MMO, so we're doing an MMO.
Not only that, but we had the technically the first sequel after this, basically.
Oh my God, hold on.
X2.
Josh, there's Seymour. He's so hot right now.
I thought hot.
Oh my fucking God. It's
Seymour Guado. He's the hottie of the group.
Oh my God, they killed that monk.
I forget his name. I just remember Seymour Guado.
Final Fantasy X, everybody. Orin. I remember him. That name sounds familiar. So like I mentioned earlier, there were a few console releases. 3 to be exact. And you're probably saying, Nick, don't call the Game Boy it's a console. It's a console.
How could you not say it's a console? Like, what would it be called then?
That thing is look at this beautiful boy. Look at this beautiful baby boy. First of all, no light. That poor guy. How is he going to play that game without that light?
I remember you used to have that little book reader, basically.
You had the
You
book
would
reader, or
plug
like
into
you
the
had
top.
you would hold it against you and like develop neck problems at the young age of 8.
Well, no, they finally had that one with the strong neck that you could just plug into the top of it, where you would plug in your link cable, basically, and it would come down and face down on the screen, so you could play
When
that.
you could, yeah, you could bend it so you weren't getting a glare.
Yeah.
Let's look at it, this poor bastard playing in 2001 the way he is. But yeah,
We all did it.
you saw the amount of games. Now there were a lot of good games we put on this list. There were also a lot of fucking bad Game Boy Advance games that came out. Every company that was like putting a movie out or putting something out was like, "Hey, you guys want to do a Game Boy Advance game?" And everyone shook their head yes.
I'm pretty sure you could get just about every single Harry Potter.
Oof.
Just about.
At least the first 3, I think.
Well, I say just about because it felt like, we got all of them on there. Heck, I didn't even realize they had some PlayStation versions of Harry Potter.
Yeah, first two got a console release, and then GameCube. GameCube's beautiful too. Don't even get me started. Oh, this guy's opening games from the GameCube too. Oh my god!
Show everybody else, Nick.
Show the people. Show the people this Look at him unwrapping this.
People
Oh, it disappeared again. Son of a bitch. Chrome. Ooh, look at that thing.
Oh, he's got the white gloves. Oh man, I love the guy who does this. Just the white gloves, unboxing everything.
GameCube controller is great for certain types of games. Still looks kind of futuristic. It does.
It really
It's a great controller.
Speaking of which.
Oh, you got yours. Hold on. Here it comes. Ooh, yeah, that controller matches yours.
Yeah, I don't have that controller, but I have the color of the.
Look at how sweet that thing is.
I also have a black shell for this. I'm trying to find the purple one.
Oh, here it comes, Josh. It's coming out of the box.
Oh man.
Oh,
It's such a. I mean, honestly, if you're gonna send me back in time and tell me I can only go back to one console release, it's the GameCube.
oh, it's just so nice looking. Like they're like, hey, let's just make it a. They're just like, let's just make it a cube, and let's give it a handle. I love that they're like, yeah, you're gonna take this to your friend's house. Here's the handle.
I'll think about how many times did we move that bad boy around?
I think we moved the Xbox more, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I mean, don't remember. I remember moving the 360. I remember taking my 360 with my 40-inch, 40-inch boob tube TV down to Ryan's house, down the street. So about 2 blocks, everyone who doesn't know. Just about every weekend, I'd hang out with my buddy. We would literally, that's what we do. Is I'd take my TV over there with my 360 and we played games. But GameCube, the perfect game, console, not only to be able to take it wherever you want, but it was so small.
But it was also very dense. You could murder somebody with that thing.
Oh, you could. You can bash someone's skull with the end of it.
Straight up murder them. So Nintendo had I can't talk. Had a year in 2001. So that was the GBA came out in June. The GameCube came out in November. So less than 6 months apart, they were putting out 2 like game changers. And people sleep on the GameCube a lot, but I think it did some great things. It's got a controller that honestly, probably the best controller until the 360 controller came out 5 or 6 years later.
Easily.
And then November 15th, so 3 days before the GameCube, this big Mamba Jamba came out. Look at this thing. Oh, they're playing gameplay. They got me. They got me.
You got the clickbaits. Go.
Chords. Who doesn't love chords? Here we go.
The Duke.
I don't think that's not the Duke. That seems small.
I thought that was because they re-released like newer, updated versions for like the Xbox One for the Duke. That may not have been the Duke, but it looked like it's basically what I think of when I see it. The Xbox controllers were the Dukes.
I kind of want to get an OG Xbox now and hook it up. Speaking of OG Xbox, you hear they announced a reboot of Splinter Cell finally?
Oh, did they finally?
Yeah, the people who did Far Cry 6 are making it.
I don't know how I feel about that. Let's face it, Double Agent was the last good one.
Oh, Double Agent was so good.
And
I
even
always
then,
liked
like,
their marketing like materials for the first Xbox. The green and gold together just looks so good.
and there's so much you can do with the original Xbox. I've seen people mod the crap out of it. Somebody even made a clear case for it, and so when it's off, no, it doesn't look anything. But when you turn it on, it turned the whole entire case into that green.
I think I've seen that one.
It just looks. I mean, honestly, let's face it. GameCube was in my opinion, my console of the year. But for the coolest looking console and the greatest things you could do, the Xbox.
And I don't think I'm riding nostalgia wave when I say this console is great. Like Jade Empire. Here, I know we're a list podcast kind of, and we were going to be covering these games at a later time, but let me name a few titles. Halo, Halo 2, Jade Empire, KOTOR, KOTOR 2, Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I know that some of these are multi-platform, but you played them on Xbox.
Elder Scrolls 3.
Elder Scrolls 3. What was the one with the shark gun?
No idea what you're talking about.
I'll have to look it up.
Stranger's Wrath.
Stranger's Wrath. Munch's Odyssey. Hold on, he's about to give us some more in this video. Battlefield 2. Silent Hill 4, the room was okay. I like that one. Call of Duty. Oh, what was the plane game? Crimson Skies. There we go.
Oh, Crimson Skies.
PGR, the first Forza Motorsport. That was the Xbox, folks. Josh, we're making good time. We're only at 1:30.
Hey, that's better than the 2 hours last time.
And the news isn't very long. So, folks, we're going to transition now out of the games. What a great year 2001 was. And we're going to get into the news.
Read all about it. Latest football scores. Morning paper. Morning Star. Paper, mister?
It's time for old news. Let's see here. June 23rd. Sonic turned 10. Just to put that in perspective, he is 30, right? He just turned 30. Sonic is 30 years. Sonic is getting ready to go through a midlife crisis. Josh, what does Sonic's midlife crisis look like?
You.
Me?
You see, you're about to turn 30.
Did you just compare Sonic's midlife crisis to mine?
I did, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Well, okay, if we're going to look at Sonic's midlife crisis, Dr. Robotnik's dead, because let's face it, he was already like 40.
He was old.
When Sonic was 1.
He was... Did you say he was 40?
He said like 40. I don't know. I didn't read the...
Dr. Robotnik was easily pushing 60 in that first game.
Okay, well, he's definitely dead, if not his brain's in a machine
That man
doesn't work.
That man hasn't stood up since Sonic 2. He's always been in his little pod. That's the only thing keeping him alive, and Sonic keeps destroying the machines it's attached to.
I have to ask, though, now we brought him up, how is it that Sonic's the fastest being alive in his world, but Dr. Robotnik can outrun him?
That's a good question. He does outrun him in one of those games.
I think it's 2, because you're chasing him throughout the space station.
Moving on from Sonic, a lot of these didn't have dates on them, but I thought they were worth bringing up. Sony cooperates with AOL to bring web features to console. I don't think they really got into like online games at this point, but it was like the start of what would later become PSN. I think Xbox was already having its thing lined up on its own.
Which, if I remember correctly, and the PS2 and the same thing with GameCube, there wasn't too many games I can only think of for PS2.
GameCube wasn't doing much. Like there were some special tools for a few games, and then PS2 you had to hook up. There was no like online service. If your game had online, you played it. I think the most popular thing for them was probably SOCOM.
SOCOM, Ratchet and Clank Deadlock, Resident Evil Outbreaks 1 and 2.
Yeah, and those are all a few years out. I think first SOCOM's next year, but so they put in the steps for that. Oh, another thing that happened this year, Sega out of the console race. The Dreamcast was discontinued in May of 2001, which I thought 2002 was when it was discontinued, but no, they were like, we're out. We're not doing this anymore. We're gone.
No, if I remember correctly, when we were watching X-Play, when it was first becoming a big thing, they made a joke about how dead the Dreamcast was, and they said they were using it as like a doorstop.
I think they had footage of it actually door stopping.
Yeah. It cracked me because it's like, man, that's sad. Because you would think the Dreamcast still had some great games on it, but it just didn't perform as well.
But you know what? All those developers are like, Dreamcast is dead. All right, let's port our stuff.
Yeah,
Port it
quickly.
Port it. Get it now.
I hear they have an Xbox. Put it on that.
Sega's doing fine now. Sonic's in a good spot with their movie. They've got a big new game coming out that they're big on. They've been helping out with like RTS, like Company Heroes 3. I think they're a publisher on that series. But yeah, they've got a good run going right now. So good on Sega for still being around. This next one, oof. Activision buys Treyarch. Both companies, not really companies you want to hear. We might have to scrub them from this episode so they don't end up in our SEO.
Basically, for anybody who doesn't know, this is when copy paste became a thing.
Yeah, Treyarch. Was their first one Call of Duty 3?
It may have been. If not Call of Duty 3, it was World at War.
Because Call of Duty 2 was Infinity Ward. And that was when they started the yearly cycle because they went straight to 2 to 3 to 4.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that happened. Midway out of the arcade business. Arcades were dying way before 2001, but Midway was finally like, we gotta get out of here. We're not going to be around much longer. Spoiler alert, they weren't around much longer.
They played that game way too long.
Sega sues Kmart for $2 million in debt owed. I believe that Kmart is the kind of company that doesn't pay its debts. Kmart's not owned by the Lannisters.
There's a reason it's no longer around. That's the reason. Well, that's a reason.
It is sad when you drive past a building and you look at it and you're like, that was a fucking Kmart. I just know it.
Well, it's sad when you can look at that building and you like it's changed. It's a different place there now, but you can still see where the K used to be.
Yeah. The K is just like the outlining of the K. They haven't painted over it yet.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kmart. Actually, rest in hell. Uri Geller sues Nintendo for Kadabra looking like him. I have an image for this one. Hold on, let me pull it up for you guys. Look at that shocking resemblance. Let me see if I can get a zoom in on it for you. Look at that shocking resemblance. My goodness.
Yeah,
Which one is the Pokemon?
I don't see it.
Which one is... Well, you know, the guy on the left. The magician was mad because he does things with spoons.
Right.
But yeah,
no, I get that. But the fact that he attempted to sue them was just like, really?
I think that lawsuit the filings of all that just cleared in the last year or two. I remember this coming up again.
I remember seeing it come up.
I think for the longest time they couldn't make Kadabra cards anymore.
I think you're right.
They couldn't do it because of this suit, and now they're able to do it again. But yeah, I can't tell them apart, Josh. I'm struggling.
I mean, I surely can because they look nothing alike.
Struggle busting over here.
Heck, I don't even know who Uri Geller even is. So
he's that Pokemon holding the spoon right there. Oh, so that is the news, folks. Again, you can find us wherever you are listening to podcasts, also on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please donate your stars to us. The more stars, the better. Leave a review. It doesn't have to be friendly. It could be the meanest review ever. We'll read it on stream. Josh, if you can only take one game from 2001 and erase the rest, and that one game is the game forever, what is that game?
And see, this is so hard. But I'm going to say Metal Gear Solid 2.
Fuck, we're in agreement. Metal Gear Solid 2, yeah, just because it was
a game changer.
I could just get up here and talk about everything, like all the theses I've read. I've read the abstracts of them. I haven't read the whole things, but I could talk about everything that anyone's ever talked about that game. And I mean, we would have like a 50 hour podcast. There's just so much to say.
Well, like I said, just the game alone, the cinematics and the gameplay on average, that's 13 hours worth of content to talk about.
We should definitely stream that one eventually.
We can stream the whole series.
Well, I guarantee you we'll get a stream where like the whole stream is just like a 3-hour cutscene eventually. That's just how it works out.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us for tonight's stream. We know we didn't play anything, but we got a lot of great cinematic.
So if you had to delete one off this list, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You just want to delete it. What are you deleting?
Okay, so I won't pick the cookies and cream because
Don't pick cookies and cream.
I'm not that mean. Bejeweled would be my pick.
Bejeweled?
I only say that
you monster.
I only say that because think about the huge franchises it's grown. I mean not that PopCap grew them, but it brought in Candy Crush. It brought in it just brought in all these other games that, don't get me wrong, in their own they're good, I guess, they're decent. But I'm tired of seeing commercials for all these mobile games. Mobile gaming needs to die at that point.
So for mine, I was originally going to say RuneScape, but I don't want a bunch of angry 11-year-olds mad at me. I'm going to say Conker's Bad Fur Day, just because this. I think this is where you could start to see rare slipping a little bit. Like, it wasn't the rare that had done the Donkey Kong Country series and had the Banjo games come out and be really good. And I want to say it was either by the end of this year or the start of next year is when they're acquired by Microsoft, which is big news, and we'll get to that. But I would get rid of Conker's Bad Fur Day just because when you look at their portfolio, and they did the rare game collection near the end of the beginning of the Xbox One's life. And if you look at that portfolio, that is like the one oddball where it's like, what were you guys thinking?
It is. I mean, like I said, I think at this point it was like, okay, they were all on some type of drug. They're all just like snorting crack in the bathroom or smoking crack in the bathroom. Came back out and they're like, guys, talking squirrels, talking poo monsters, chocolate.
Yeah, not for me. Sorry, it's got to go. All right, Josh, to end real quick, I've got a little quiz for you based on Gen 2 Pokemon. The over-under is 5 for anyone who wants to play at home. So pick over or under and see if you get it right. All right, Josh, are you ready?
As ready as I'm going to be.
Do you swear by the sanctity of the game that you did not cheat and look at these beforehand?
The furthest I've gotten down to is quiz for Josh. Do not look below prior to show.
All right, we'll take your word for it. Here's the first one. Name that Pokemon.
Beetlestang?
No, I'm sorry. His name is Heracross.
Oh, God.
We got 9 more of these, so brace yourself, Joshua.
I'm going to lose every one of them.
Name that Pokemon.
I have no idea. Owlman. I don't know. Owl something.
I'm sorry. We were looking for Delibird. Delibird is the right answer.
Delibird? Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is going to be a long one.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Name that Pokemon.
Rolliphant? God, I have no idea.
That is Donphan. Actually, I think that was one of the first Gen 2s revealed in the second Pokemon movie. That and Meryl. Name that Pokemon.
I don't even remember half of these. I don't know. Monkey.
Schmeargle.
Jesus Christ.
0 for 4 so far, Josh.
I'm making fun of Rare for smoking crack, and I'm watching these going, what the heck is this?
Name that God. Pokemon. Fun fact, I named him earlier in the show. I did that on purpose.
I don't remember. That was an hour and a half ago. Gangasaur, I don't know. Gangasaur is what I'm going to go with. I know it's not right, but...
What are you calling him?
Gangasaur.
I'm sorry, that's Tyranitar.
Yes.
Your slide into madness continues. Josh, name that Pokemon.
Lily Tad, I don't know.
Politoed.
Oh, come on. I was close with that one at least.
A few more, Josh. A few more, and your suffering is over.
I'm having...
Name that Pokemon.
Starts with an E, I think.
It doesn't start with an E.
Pharaoh.
Zatu. Name that Pokemon.
Oh, that's I almost said Wobbuffet, but I know it's not Wobbuffet. That's
close.
That's the evolution before Wobbuffet, right?
Nope.
I don't know. Waba something.
What'd you call it?
Waba something. I don't know.
That is called a Quagsire.
Quags.
I'm sorry, Quagsire.
How is that close to Wobbuffet?
They're pretty close on the Pokedex. Name that Pokemon.
That's an EV evolution. I have no idea. Starts with a D.
Maybe.
Ah, God. See, I sound like an idiot, and people are thinking, "Oh my God, it's this Pokemon, you moron."
Does this guy even play Pokemon?
I haven't played Gen 2 in over 20 years, people. Deevee, I don't know anymore. Deevee.
Would you call it Deevee?
Deevee is Dark Eevee, okay?
It's Umbreon.
Of course it is.
Name that Pokemon.
Giraffe with a mouth on its butt. I have no idea.
You were close. It's called Giraffarig.
Is it really?
Yeah, you were close. No points. And that was the last one. Josh, you were 0 for 10.
I don't remember Pokemon.
Give Josh a hand. Give Josh a hand.
The next quiz is just as hard for you. That was like unbearable.
So I was originally going to make it to where if you got under a certain amount that I get to pick the game that you have to do a speed cap for. But I'm feeling generous, and this is the test. So go ahead and pick your speed cap game from 2001 that we'll do in a few weeks. But you have to do it right now. You can't think about it.
No, because we said it's the number one game, we agreed. I'm going to do Metal Gear Solid 2.
All right. So in a few weeks, Josh will be doing a speed cap of Metal Gear Solid 2. A week from today's episode, I'll be doing my speed cap of Majora's Mask, which we still need to record, and I'm going to murder it. I just know I am. Again, folks, you can find us anywhere where you listen to podcasts. This is Smashing Game Time. I want to thank Alex Marvin Cook for our music. That's a great. Have you heard the theme, Josh?
It's fantastic. I absolutely love it.
I think I just call him Cook. It's Alex Marvin Clark. I'm a moron. Alex, big shout out to you. Thanks for the music. Appreciate you. It really does bring the podcast together. It's kind of like a room without a rug, and then Alex's music is the rug, and it really throws the room together.
I mean, let's face it. If they're going to listen to anything, it's for his music. Beyond that, they're like, oh, the rest of it's crap. The music. Fantastic.
They turned it on, listened to the music, and turned the podcast off.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so some quick plug-in before we go. I am Nick Fat Knight on Twitch, That Kaufman on Twitter. I'm usually on Twitter. Come find me. I'm a writer. I have fun writing. I have fun playing games. I have fun chatting with Josh for some reason, even though he goes 0 for 10 on naming Gen 2 Pokemon, whatever. Josh actually has some stuff to plug. And fun fact, when I said to plug last week, Josh didn't hear me, and he thought he was just talking about taking naps.
Yeah, I was actually really tired, and I couldn't hear him. So my Twitch handle, of course, is I'm Josh Sang, and you can find me at Twitter at Josh_Sang.
Anywhere else, Josh?
No, I figured that's good enough for now. People don't know me, so I like to keep it that way. Mysterious.
I do have one more. I have a review for the Gunk, the new Xbox game coming out, up on Game Chronicles. Check that out. It's either out tonight or out tomorrow, but go check that out. I put a lot of sweat and blood and tears into that one. A lot of gunk into it. So go check that out. Again, wherever you're listening to podcasts, throw us a like on YouTube. Throw us some stars on Apple Podcasts. Leave a fun review. Do whatever you think is fun. It's the easiest way and freest way to support the show. So please tell your friends, tell your families, tell your enemies, because then we can waste their time. Josh, any closing words?
Yes, people. I would love to say thank you for listening. And, of course, I would love some R&R. Not R&R as in rest, but R&R as in reviews and roasting. I want to see them. Roast me. I want to know how great and how bad we're doing. Please.
I was worried about where that was going to go, but that was a perfect thing to end on. All right, folks, we'll see you next week with the Majora's Mask Speed Cap. Until next time, everyone have a good night.
Toodaloo.